If you grew up gaming when I grew up gaming, then THQ has touched your life, even if you don't realize it. Whether it's through shooters, real-time strategy, or a classic game with your favorite cartoon character, THQ has been there. Today, we're going to take a look back at the decades of racing and driving games they've been a part of, and where they are now. First, we're going to head back to the 20th century to 1999 and check out HSV Adventure Racing, or, if you're not Australian, Beetle Adventure Racing, made by Paradigm, which got passed around until eventually falling under the THQ umbrella and being shut down, and also EA. I absolutely love this game. I hate the Beetle, but the championships and the Beetle battles are a pure nostalgia rush. I had a ton of racing games on my 64, but nothing did it for me like this one. The music, the tracks, everything hit perfect, and it still falls in my top 5 favorite list. While I know this was a bit of a stretch for a THQ game, I'm still counting on a technicality. We can't talk about Paradigm and THQ without talking about Stuntman Ignition. It was Paradigm's last developed title before being shut down by THQ. The first Stuntman was made by the same people that were making the driver games at the time, but THQ took over at some point, and honestly I think they did great. It's a fun, action-packed game, driving feels great, missions are good, has a more modern feel without losing too much of the first game's vibe, which is a really hard thing to do when switching studios completely. The Xbox 360 version is backwards compatible, so if you find a copy at a local game store, pick it up. I highly recommend it. Next, we're going to talk about a game series that has almost certainly been a part of your library. In fact, if you still have your old Xbox or PS2 laying in a box somewhere, I bet one of these games is laying there amongst the other Platinum and Greatest Hits and Shovelware. Motocross vs. ATV. These games started out as 2 separate series that, come 2005, got melded together to form the most extreme of extreme motorsports games, Motocross vs. ATV Unleashed. And like I said, everyone I knew, especially with a PS2, had this game. I never did because I didn't have an Xbox or a PS2 until much later, and my only personal experience with this game is when I fell as a kid, hit my head, and played it at the hospital on one of those mobile kiosks they rolled around to keep kids quiet during observation. They still make this series, but we'll talk about this later. Real quick, we couldn't talk about THQ and racing games without mentioning the 2006 Cars video game, which I'll defend to the death is a pretty dang solid title. There's an open world element, fun races, fun music, good characters. It's not boring. Honestly, it beats most racing games getting pumped out nowadays, and if you get a chance, you should try it. Now back to some real shit. Juiced, a game taken over by THQ from Acclaim after their bankruptcy. I like the first Juiced. Came late in the lifespan of Xbox and PS2, but I actually had this for PC, so it never really felt aged to me. Had a good tuner car list and customizations, decent enough physics, fun tracks, good career mechanics, everything a good tuner racer needed and nothing it didn't. But then the next gen of console came, and Juice Games, literally the dev studio responsible, I am not kidding, made some changes. They got Hot Import Nights, a company running car shows all over the world, to be the title sponsor. They blew up the car list with everything from the Pontiac G6 to the Ascari supercar, and a ridiculous DNA system that I still don't fully understand, and filled it to the brim with sponsors and awful customizations that were less tuner and way more tacky. But it did have drifting. Saints Row, my favorite GTA clone, made by Volition, a company under the THQ umbrella until 2013, which means we won't have to talk about this. But the first 3, the good ones, are fair game, and they are utter masterpieces. I honestly hate comparing them to GTA because the only similarity is that they're open world and you can steal cars. You get hit with different vibes playing Saints Row than GTA or really any other generally compared game. You're almost forced to take it less serious because of how goofy they are. It makes the moments when the games do get serious all that much more memorable and meaningful. Deaths and betrayal are expected in GTA, but when you go from exaggerated ragdoll insurance fraud or spraying half the town with literal shit to an emotional death scene during one of the main story missions, it's more of a shock, and something that I feel like only the earlier Saints Row games can do really well. Okay, so what of THQ today? Well, THQ officially and fully became THQ Nordic as of 2016, after getting acquired by Nordic Games through THQ's bankruptcy. Lots of studios under THQ and properties they owned fell and were lost forever due to its bankruptcy and resulting merger. What's left in THQ's racing library? Well, they have a Monster Jam licensing, so they've released 2 games called Steel Titans and Steel Titans 2. They're fine if you're into monster trucks. The MX vs. ATV series is still alive and well, with the last title being released in late 2022, called Legend Supercross World Tour. I imagine they'll probably make more. My favorite THQ racing game is Wreckfest. That's right, Wreckfest. THQ is a majority stake in Bugbear, the developer, and THQ Nordic is the publisher, making Wreckfest a THQ title, which gives me hope for the future of more THQ racing titles. Wreckfest has such an amazing destruction model, great vehicle list, fun maps, super fun multiplayer. It's just a solid 10 modern racing game, and I would love to see THQ do more like it. THQ has always been there for me through my gaming life, and I'm sure they've been there for you too, whether you know it or not. They've been on the brink of death and made it through, and not many studios can say that. My only hope with this is to show appreciation to a studio that has brought joy to my life through these games for decades, and maybe bring light to some games made by THQ that you weren't aware of. We've lost too many good studios through the years, and I'd hate to see that happen to another one of the greats. Comment down below your favorite THQ game or a memory you may have with any of these games or any others that maybe I forgot. And thanks for watching. Cheers.